Hi, welcome. It's been some time since I last did an entry. I wonder how I look in my previous entry. Slimmer or just as full faced and fat? Am I really fat? I don't think I'm fat, but according to the doctor, I'm supposed to be obese, so make of that what you will. Well, like I said, it's been some time since I've actually done one of these recordings. As some of you may know, I'm not exactly a great fan of self-taping, but it's the way the industry in film and television is moving. Instead of going into a room and facing off a casting director and their assistants, in a lot of cases they'll ask for self-tape, something like this, I guess. Where they'll give you the script and you'll look over the script. You'll read the script 250 times if you're like Anthony Hopkins, just to relieve tension, and then you'll start to kind of work out how you're going to do it. And when you're sure in your mind, then you do this. You know, put your phone, your iPhone, in my case, somewhere, and just do it. I won't even say perform. You just do the script. No, be the character, whatever that character may be. Well, I mean, this is not an audition. I'm just kind of putting myself out there, trying to get used to the technology of the 21st century. Now, I had quite a busy year last year. I was in full-time work, not acting, sadly, but I was focusing on making a living, and I did many things. Didn't travel, just focused on getting myself in a position where I can actually go out there and get the next job, or even better, some acting gigs and just do what I love doing. Unfortunately, the acting side of things didn't turn out. Not that I was actually pushing it. It's just that now, since I finished my 9 to 5, I've been out of work for 6 months, so I've been kind of kicking my heels, getting around to sorting out multiple pension plans, put everything into one pot. Should have been catching up on writing and blogging and all those wonderful things I like to subscribe to. Just didn't do it. Sometimes it's just through sheer laziness, or something was on Netflix or Amazon Prime. So I kind of was watching actors doing what I would like to do, and picking up a few tips along the way. Although, unlike a lot of people, I do kind of watch television film very critically, picking up tips along the way, doing some background reading on what the actors are doing with their characters, which brings me, oddly enough, to is it episode 4 or 5 of Game of Thrones, the final series, where Daenerys, or Danny, as the fans like to call her, she's in a very difficult and dangerous situation, in that, despite the fact that she has people around her, there's nobody she can really trust. Jon Snow's kind of not turned his back on her, but he's kind of taken a step back from their relationship. Tyrion has let her down more than once, and the other trusted advisors, they're sadly no longer around. They've one got killed in the battle with the White Walkers. The female assistant confidant, she got beheaded by Cersei. So there's really nobody. But when they go to take King's Landing, and she's on her dragon, and in that split second she decides, rather than be loved, she went for fear instead, and essentially burnt King's Landing down to the ground. And it's kind of surprising to see Cersei, who was relying on Daenerys's morality, her morality, her humanity, her sense of justice, to find out that her plans backfired. Crowding people into the city as human shields didn't work. Daenerys burnt everything to the ground. So how is it that somebody like Cersei, who has none of those qualities that she thinks Daenerys has, could expect her opponent to be so different from her? It's kind of like I said to a friend. Cersei kind of reminds me of the German Kaiser of the 19th and early 20th century, who kept up so much brinkmanship with his relatives, which were the other crown heads of Europe, that when one, was it Archdeacon Ferdinand of Yugoslavia, got assassinated, that kicked off the whole thing that became the First World War, the Great War, the war to end all wars. Or if you're a cynic like me, you'll just say, well, it was a family feud, and everybody, the poor working class got used as cannon fodder, which, to me, that's what it was. And in this episode, was it 4 or 5? I can't remember which episode it was. All this came to a head. Cersei, from series 1 all the way through, has played this game. All routes of distress lead back to her, and now she's faced with her brinksmanship. It's backfired on her, and she has lost everything that she attained in becoming queen herself. So I guess in terms of character, that there's a lot to learn there. In fact, Game of Thrones is a very good study in the dark side of humanity and human nature, in particular with people, dangerous people that is, who have way too much power. So I would recommend, if you've never watched Game of Thrones, do kind of look in. I've yet to read the actual novels. I'm not sure, having seen everything, whether it's worth it, but I probably will, because they do say the books are a lot better than the actual film or TV adaptation, but that's just something I'll have to find out. So the question is, well, Janice, what's the way forward? Well, the way forward is to kind of get back out there, attend workshops, do more training, and just kind of carry on doing that, really, redeveloping my skills, moving forward, and just get myself ready for when the next job comes. Now, a lot of the castings, and they're not that many, that I've had over the last few years have been for commercials, which is all well and true. My agent, they do work hard on my behalf. So when they come up with an audition or a castings for commercial, I just go along. But I never get cast. I think I've only been casting one, I believe, 1 or 2, which leads me to believe that I don't have a face for commercials. But then I find with commercial castings, or rather castings for commercials, it's more about looks than any kind of acting ability. I mean, you can say well, how can I put it? You could say that what I say should be taken with a certain amount of cyanide. I would say yes, large doses of cyanide. Because I've gone to castings and I've had a look at my fellow thespians, actors, and sized them up and think, well, let's see what happens. When I actually see the actual commercial, they've cast people who I don't think are particularly good. But then, I can be a bit bitchy about that. As an afterthought, you didn't get cast, but hey, that's how it goes. They always say, don't take it the wrong way, you're just not what they're looking for. Well, I don't particularly think anybody's really looking for my look in commercials. That said, I have seen a couple of commercials where there's this guy, might be 1 or 2 guys, or it's the same guy, and he looks like me, he sounds like me, and people have thought he is me. So he may just be the one that's booking the jobs instead of myself. Not sure why. Does he have a better agent? Possibly. I don't know. Is he talented? Maybe so. Well, what is important is that he got the job, and what's important to me is that I didn't get the job, so I need to find out why. What is it that I'm not doing? That's a good question. What is it that I'm not doing? I don't know. Really don't know. I think I'm doing everything right. I would admit that the past couple of years I haven't actually pushed myself with self-submissions. But then when I kind of do that, I kind of get invites to be involved in a profit share play, or a play on the fringe, or both. But the trouble with that is there's no money in it, and I've kind of gone down that road where I've done short films, loads of plays, and never got paid for it. And as an actor friend once said to me, there comes a time when sooner or later you're going to have to put a value on what you do. And I've done that. Maybe that's why I'm not working, because I'm not prepared to kind of cheapen myself by working for nothing. Now, I know in the business of acting, the performance arts generally, to get somewhere, you have to kind of pay your dues. Now, one of the ways I paid my dues was to take some form of formal training. I did it part time, held down a job, and did it that way. That was step one of paying my dues, and everybody who wants to be an actor will do that, and that's a great thing. But after that, then I got involved in doing some intern work at a studio, a fully functional film and TV studio, working as intern. No money in that again. Again, paying my dues. That was step two. Step three was actually, on the advice of a friend, going in and doing extra work or working as a supporting artiste, which is another word for being an extra. And I did that for was it about 2 years, just over 2 years. Got to work on a lot of film and television. Another way of paying my dues. Got my agent, my first agent after that, funny enough, when I decided to focus on acting proper. And again, the next stage, and I forgot how many steps I've gone now. Is this the fourth or the fifth one? But let's say this is step 5. I started to do work in Fringe Theatre, off West End, or if you're watching this stateside, kind of off Broadway. So, yeah, I was travelling around working at different theatre venues around the London area, and yeah, it was good. It's good, but then again, there were some production I worked on that were a total disaster. Director made bad casting decisions. Maybe he made a bad casting decision in casting me. You'll have to ask him about that. But the first Fringe production I did was actually a good play. It was a good play, and there's people I met there who I'm still friends with. But when actors decide, because they're not getting paid, and decide to hijack everything, then it becomes a bloody disaster. And this one was, and I actually went on to do a few iterations of that same play with more or less varying degrees of success. It's a learning curve. Again, I'm paying my dues, but up until 7 years ago, I decided, well, look, you know what, I'm out there. I'm taking these opportunities, and yes, I'm not getting any money, but it's an opportunity nevertheless. But at the end of the day, somebody's getting paid, because they sell tickets. People come and watch the plays, so somebody's getting paid. Maybe the person who owns a venue, he's getting paid. You're going to have to pay the technician and that and whatever. So at the end of the day, somebody's getting paid, and I'm not one of them, and my fellow actors aren't. So it gets to a point where I started to put a value on what I did, and I felt I was worth far more. Plus, when you're not being paid, if you're costing people nothing, then they will treat you like nothing. And I was being treated like absolute shit, and decided enough was enough. If it comes down to having a career in this business, and it means working free, giving my time, my services, my skills for free, I'm not getting a bloody penny or a dollar or a pound, then I'd rather not do it. So I just kind of, decide to focus on making a living. If it's in acting, brilliant. If it's not, well, I'll make some money to pay the bills. And making a living and paying the bills, it goes so far. The bills get paid. You kind of have a kind of life. But then there's the burning desire to go back to what one loves doing. And for me, it's acting in film and television. Stage, I'm not too sure of. I've never worked in professional theatre. I've cut my teeth on the Fringe, as we call it here in the UK, or off Broadway, if you like, and it served its purposes. I've met some good people. I've met some unbelievably bad people, but it's all part of the learning curve. So I'm Daniel Jennings or Daniel Jude, or just call me Daniel or Jude. I answer to anything as long as it's polite. Good old Daniel Jude just wants to make a nice, comfortable living, doing what he loves, and while he's doing that, he can build up his pension pot, and if he ever decides to retire, then he's got something to fall back. But to be honest with you, the way I see my life now is that I'll never retire. I'll always be working until the day I die. It's just the way things are, and I think I'm not the only one. I think there's many people out there who have spent the best part of their working lives, which is around, what is it, 40 odd years or so, 40 years plus, maybe doing even the same job or doing various jobs, and it's kind of doing the rounds of being within the mill, a cog in the wheel of industry, and you've been doing that same time, and they've probably got a nice pension pot, but they may not feel unfulfilled, or they find out after 40 odd years of working and contributing to a pension that the pension that they will eventually get will not suffice. It will not keep them to the style and level of living that they're used to. So what may happen is that those people will work on later and retire later. Me, I guess I'll be working. Well, like I said, I'll be working for the rest of my life. I guess as I get older, then it won't be 9 to 5. It might be acting. I might be doing a bit of extra work, doing something like that, just to supplement what little income I will have coming in if I do retire. But that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. I'm not even thinking about today, even though a great philosopher called Jesus Christ said, focus on today because tomorrow brings its own troubles, which is very, very true. It's kind of looking at today, and the days go really fast. So before I know where I am, tomorrow's today. Tomorrow never comes. Every day is like today, and that's probably down to a time management issue. I just need to manage my time better and have plenty of free time. I just don't think I manage it very well. I've got my writing, my blogging, and my acting career to focus on and move that forward until I can get back into earning some money, not necessarily from acting. That said, I have made a lot of self submissions for jobs that are really nicely paid, but it's a numbers game, and it's whether my face fits or whether there's not much evidence of my acting skills anywhere, really. I'm very much a background guy who, if he's lucky, will get one line. Fortunately, somebody might see this, and all I can say is I just have to let the cards fall where they may. But that's pretty much where I am at the moment. It's thinking about tomorrow and getting back to who I am and what I would like to do, which is acting full time. I'm not a wannabe. I mean, I've got what? When did I start out professional? About 2002. So we're looking at, what's that? 2002. That's 17 years. Excuse me, twitching my nose here. Yeah, about 17 years. So got a lot. That's a lot of time, and I've done a lot of things, but in the scheme of things, it doesn't seem as if I've done very much. I think for me, I have to be constantly doing it, from one job, whether it's from, I don't know, a TV production to a film production, maybe doing a short run, a play or something. That's what I'd like to do, because it gives me something to get up for each morning. And one could argue, well, Janice, you're not doing anything at the moment. You've been kind of inactive for 6 months. I mean, what about all this blogging and all this writing that you want to do? Well, I do publish my own digital newspaper. I do write an editorial. I haven't done it for about a year, but then, every bloody thing that comes up in the news now is about Brexit. What more can you write or discuss about Brexit? It's just ground the country to a halt, and I don't think that's a great thing. I think how a nation moves on is the people that come to that country to make a new life and bring in new ideas. I mean, you know, the solutions of the 19th century or Victoria capitalism, I mean, how did that work out for the working class? It didn't. It didn't. People just left to rot. And we're in different times. But as I said, that's where I am at the moment. So many things going around in my head. Where am I going to be? Blah 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 blah. So yeah, that's where my head's at the moment. But I just thought I'd come back and say hi. I'm Daniel Jugenis. I'm still here, and you know, I'm here. So feel free to drop me a line if you want to discuss something or you want to advise me or you think I'm doing it all wrong. Just drop me a line. I'm out there on social media. I'm probably one of the most easiest people to contact on the planet. So feel free. But until my next, what do you call it, podcast or video blog or whatever, be good to everybody and be nice to yourself. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Bye.